Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Come on in, come on in. Bring it in, bring it in. Let's huddle up, huddle up. Huddle up. Huddle up, huddle up. Instead
There
of
we
squabble up.
go. There we
Huddle up.
go.
Coming to you live from the Sit Your Ass Down studios. Welcome to the Me and D
Pops and Son.
podcast.
For that ass.
For that ass.
For that ass.
For that ass.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Pause. Today is April 27th, 2025. We thank you so much for listening to us. We have plenty of post-draft conversation. I know we do. I know we do because I'm looking at my notes, so I know we do.
I know we do.
I know we do.
I think
First
I
of all, we
did.
want
I
to
think
pay
I
our
can.
respects to those who have passed away. Rest in peace, Walt Jocketty, former Cardinals general manager who helped build two pennant winning teams, passed away yesterday at the age of 74. Steve McMichael, Super Bowl champion with the Chicago Bears, passed away. Longtime ESPN announcer Mike Patrick, who was the first voice of Sunday Night Football on the network, he passed last week.
Damn.
Lulu Roman, comedian and singer from Hee Haw.
Hee Haw.
She passed away.
Rest in
Laura
peace.
Park Lincoln, actress from
Laura
Knots
Park
Landing,
Lincoln.
passed away. And then Pope Francis.
Damn, the Pope.
The Pope passed away last week, so rest in peace to those folks. Birthdays on today, April 27th, one of my favorite players. I still see that poster. George the Iceman Gervin turned
George
72 years
Gervin.
old today. Happy birthday,
Happy
George.
birthday, George.
Two Redbird legends from back in the day, Eno Slaughter and Rogers Hornsby,
Eno.
celebrate birthdays or would have celebrated birthdays. They were born
Eno.
on this day. Nick Kyrgios, tennis player from Australia.
From down under.
Down under celebrates a birthday. Former Cardinal pitcher Chris Carpenter celebrates a birthday. Linebacker Tyrone Rogers also celebrates. The singer Lizzo celebrates a birthday. She's 37. I didn't know she was that old.
Damn.
Yeah.
I thought
she was.
That's not like old, but
No, I thought she was like 31, 32.
Right,
you know, maybe just turning 30. She's closer to 40 than 30.
No, she's closer to 40 than 30.
Yeah. 40
Damn.
foot, 30 foot, 30 foot, 40.
30 foot, 40 foot, 40 foot, 30. Damn, I know
Guitarist
she's 37.
Ace Frehley from the band Kiss, one of my favorite groups back in the day, turned 74. Singer Sheena Easton is 66 years old. And bassist Rob Squires from the group Big Head Todd and the Monsters is 60. Not to be confused with Big Head Tanner from the neighborhood, but Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Big Head Todd, not Big Head Tanner.
Not Big Head Tanner,
but Big Head Todd.
Sports on this day, history from today. In 2017,
on this day,
didn't think he's been playing in the league this long. Texas A&M defensive end Myles Garrett is picked first overall by the Cleveland Browns in the NFL draft. In 2014, Lydia Ko, 3 days after her 17th birthday, birdies the final hole for her third LPGA Tour victory and first as a professional. 2013, the Detroit Red Wings make the playoffs for the 22nd straight season after Heinrich Zetterberg had 2 goals and an assist in a 3-0 victory over Dallas. 2009, the Denver Nuggets matched the biggest victory in playoff history with their 121-63 rout of the Pelicans in Game 4 of their first-round series. In 2008, Ashley Force becomes the first woman to win a national funny car race. She beats her father, drag racing icon John, in the final round of the 28th Summit Racing Equipment Southern Nationals. Man, that's a mouthful.
Right.
In 2007, Kirk Radomski, he should have been called Kirk Radumass, but Kirk Radomski, a former New York Mets clubhouse employee, pleads guilty to distributing steroids to major league players for a decade and agrees to help baseball's steroids investigators. 1996, Barry Lamar Bonds
Barry Lamar.
becomes the fourth major leaguer with 300 homers
Barry
and
Lamar.
300 steals when he homered in the third inning of San Francisco's 6-3 win over the Marlins. His father, Bobby Bonds, godfather Willie Mays, and Andre Dawson are the only other players to reach the 300 club at that time. 1968, Jimmy Ellis wins the heavyweight boxing title with a 15-round decision over Jerry Corey. This is the final bout of an 8-man elimination tournament to fill Muhammad Ali's vacated title. And then in 1961, the NFL officially recognizes Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. So those are our birthdays, rest in peace, and sports history.
Yeah.
All right. Takeaways, D, from the NFL draft. I had a 4-word headline: color, control, collusion, and confusion.
Wow, the 4 C's.
The 4 C's.
Let's say color, control, collusion, and confusion.
Now confusion.
What's the Constitution? I mean, that sums it up right there. All in just those 4 words right there. Overall takeaway for my team, I was pretty happy. This is a good draft for us. And if you go back from last year's draft and the previous drafts, we've actually done pretty good. We've put some stuff together. So selfishly, from my end, as an Atlanta Falcons fan, getting the draft picks here of late, we put some good draft picks together. And this year we embody defense and some need on the defensive end. So I was happy overall with that. It was a real deep class. But
I can go ahead. I can give you that. So you had 5 picks. You had Jalen Walker, linebacker.
Yeah.
James Pierce Jr., edge rusher.
Yeah.
You chose Xavier Watts, safety.
Yeah.
And then you chose Billy Bowman Jr., safety.
Yep.
And then your last pick, you addressed your offensive line. You got Jack Nelson, offensive tackle out of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And so last week we talked about this. What were your desires and what did you think your needs were? And sounds like the Falcons listened to you, D.
Yep, my needs were met. I'm in this relationship. We're going to continue this relationship for a couple more years. We won't have to divorce or nothing like that. I feel like we went to counseling and both sides spoke. But yeah, I think overall, because now I think we got an offense that can compete. And then I think we have a defense that can make some noise. We've seen some young splashes. So I was pretty pleased on a lot of the picks we decided to go. No head scratching picks. It was good. I think I was pretty satisfied. I'm like, okay, now we're just trying to compete. I think it's in a division that's very weak. It's a division very gettable. It's a division for the taking of whoever prioritizes winning and the needs that need to be addressed. I'm not gonna say anything like crazy, we're Super Bowl or something like that, but I think we're on our way to compete. At least right now, the goal is just to get the division title.
Right.
We had a great chance last year, but I think the goal is to get a division title. So for me, selfishly, as an Atlanta Falcons fan, overall, I enjoyed this draft.
All right. For me, 6 of 11 for the 49ers were on the defensive side of the ball, including the first 5. So I'm very happy. 3 D linemen, a cornerback, 4 D linemen, and a cornerback. Not going to get much better than that. And then they addressed some needs on the offensive side of the ball. They got a wide receiver, running back. Then they went back and got a safety. And then they got a quarterback, offensive lineman, and a wide receiver. They spread it out in terms of what they needed to address. They covered all the bases. But you can see the game plan clearly. Build up the defensive side of the ball with youth because Fred Warner's getting older. Nick Bosa's getting older.
Get banged up.
They lost
Greenlaw.
Travarius Ward. Lost quite a few players.
Yeah.
That end up leaving. What's my boy Greenlaw went to Denver. They lost. Funga went to Denver. So you got to build through the draft. You can control these players in terms of cost savings, and I'm pretty pleased. Now, Not all of these players are going to make the team,
Right.
but that's the thing. When you have some depth and you have numbers, build it up that way and then
You got
see
some
who
options.
makes the team.
Right. You
How
got some.
does it does settle, but at least
Right.
you dress those needs. You're not relying on free agency. You're not having to make trades and give away picks, which, like I said, they had 11 picks in this year's draft. I think that
Crazy.
might
That's a
be the
lot.
most in quite a while.
Right.
Most years is 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4. And it all goes
Damn,
back
11
to
picks?
when they traded up to try to get Trey Lance, who's still scuffling to stay in the NFL,
Wow. He
still
was a
hasn't
top.
found a starting spot since he
Right.
left San Francisco. But that's another story for another day. But getting back to the main deal, the real deal,
The real
Holyfield,
deal,
and we alluded to
Holyfield.
color, control, collusion, and
Collusion.
confusion. Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado, another C, was finally
Shedeur.
picked by the Cleveland Browns, another C, in the 5th round with the 144th pick. I like his attitude. Having gone through what he went through these last few days, I know it had to have humbled him.
Oh, yeah. Humility, I think, is the
That
biggest.
might be a word if you need to throw some H's in there.
Humility.
Humility. But he said the quote, God had him throughout. And I'm glad he
Amen.
turned back to his faith,
You
because it
need
would have been
to.
easy to just be like, man, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? Well, part of the reason it happened to you, I hate to say it, but looking at it, your daddy, Dion, caused a lot of this, just coming out saying who they didn't want to play for. You can't control that. And we talked about that. How much control do you really have
Right.
over what NFL teams do? Well, they showed you, Dion, that, yeah, you might control things over in Colorado, but you don't control things with the Shield. And that's where I see collusion was part of it. They can say what they want to say and spin it anyway. They could tell us that or didn't interview well. Come on, man. Only reason he didn't interview well is maybe if he didn't want to play for your particular team. But even Brian Daboll said he wasn't prepared. He had a play that he wanted him to draw, that I guess he was expected to draw up and go over and break down, and said he wasn't prepared for that. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that. If this is your audition, this is your interview, this is what you've been waiting on all your life, I don't see him going into that ill prepared. One, he's a good student. By all
Right.
accounts, everybody says he's smart. So why would he go into anybody's boardroom, draft room, whatever you want to call it, and you're not able to recite the play or draw the play up? I'm just thinking stuff's starting to come out because now teams want to cover their backsides so they can say, well, this is why we didn't draft them, in case it blows up in their faces years from now.
Yeah, it's multiple ways to spin it. There's multiple takes that you can take, that you can go with it. Now, first, let me address, like, congrats to Shedeur, the way he handled it. I know it was that's a nerve. I was nervous for real. I'm like, damn, it's the 3rd day and still no one's taking him. I'm like,
Right.
you go, okay, he didn't make the 1st round. Okay, cool. 2nd round pick. Damn, okay, 2nd round's gone. And then I was starting to look at him like, damn, no one in the 3rd round. They already got a quarterback. And then when you start seeing Jalen Monroe, and then you start Dylan Gabriel get picked, and then I'm like, for real?
Tyler Schauf
Tyler
got picked.
got picked. I'm like, for real? Y'all rather have these players? And don't get me wrong, those are great players.
No
And if you go,
shade. Yeah, no
no
shade
shade
thrown
at
at
all.
them.
But I don't know, man. I feel like Shedeur is a great quarterback. Now, the NFL is a different ball game. You have a lot to prove, but on the positive side, I think humility is the biggest thing for him. I think this is a God did had your back, and also this is a lesson learned. I think that's a big thing. Maybe that's what held you back and what made you not get drafted in the 1st round was your humility, maybe your arrogance and your confidence. So this is a good lesson learned to be like, hey, you know what? Humble yourself a little bit. You're not over anybody. You're not over any team. And this also will add some fuel to the fire for him. But I do also feel like this was a shot at the Sanders family. I think this was a shot at Dion. I think this was a shot to show no one's above the NFL. We decide who's going to be in this. We decide who's going to partake. This is our fraternity, whatever. We call the shots here. You're not going to
Right.
tell us who's going to be a part of us or what teams you don't want to do or what teams you're not going to be a part of. and I'm not going to even take it spin into the race thing or nothing like that, because there are several black players chosen and stuff like that. I'm not even going to take it to that. I'm just taking it from a stance of, we're going to show you, Dion, all those teams who needed a quarterback, a smart quarterback, a quarterback that's proven in pressure situations, who's a winner, who has the confidence. None of you telling me you want Tyler what? Tyler who? Tyler Shout? What's his name? Tyler Shout?
Tyler Shelf out of Louisville. Shelf.
You taking him
Hell, you
over
took
Shedeur?
Jackson Dart.
You taking Jackson Dart in the first round?
In the first round. You traded back into the first round, New York Giants, to get Jackson Dart. I thought when they traded back into it, they were going to take, for sure, I thought they were going to take Shedeur.
It only made sense.
And then for Cleveland, who had the first pick in the second round.
Didn't they have 2 picks in the second round?
They did. And they
I
still
thought that was
didn't go.
weird.
Yeah.
And then, and that also doesn't make sense either. So now in Cleveland Browns, you got Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett. I mean, technically you still got Deshaun Watson. You got Dylan Gabriel. Well, we know Deshaun's
who
not
they
gonna
took
play.
in the third round before Shedeur.
You got Dylan Gabriel and you got Shedeur. So you got 5 quarterbacks in your locker room.
And you
right
only need
now.
3.
And you need 3. So but we know Deshaun's probably not gonna play.
So knock that down to 4.
So knock down to 4. So you got Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, and then you got Shedeur. So I don't know if they're using one for trade bait. I don't know if they're going to use it for something as far as, I don't know. But that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you take Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur?
Right. Yeah, you're going to shop one of them.
Right, you're going to shop one of them for sure. But
go ahead.
No, that's all I was going to say. I was just saying, we really see now, because the narrative, we all know, come on now. It's an eye test. You can't tell me this dude threw 37 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. He can move on his feet. He's mobile. He got the pressure situation. I don't care if you're talking about he doesn't have the strongest arm. Well, he's accurate, and he can make the right throws, and he makes the right reads. And he led a team who didn't really have no chance at all to. We've been watching Colorado. That's another argument I made, was like, they were saying, oh, well, Jackson Dart played in the SEC. Who were we watching on Saturday nights? Were we watching Shedeur or Jackson Dart? Come on now. Get out of here with that. Get out of here
who
with
was
that.
must-see TV? It was him and Travis Hunter.
Who's going to bring the ratings to your team? Who's going to, and as a franchise, who's going to put the asses in the seats? Jackson Dart or Shedeur? Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur? Come on now. What are we really doing here?
You alluded to it, but you hadn't said it. I'm saying it. Damn it. It's color, man. It's color. It's control. We're going to show you. Well, you insert whatever word you want to insert. We're going to show you it's about the shield. And we colluded. And now we're all confused because the picks don't make sense. And I go to Pittsburgh. You desperately still need a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
You chose Will Howard in the 6th round.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand that one.
So come on now. You can't tell me these teams. And that's what I think that they can say what they want to. They changed instant replay and did this to the kickoff. You can't tell me those owners didn't secretly say, oh, by the way, the player out in Colorado, we're not drafting him early. Right. None of us are drafting. No, there was some kind of deal made. You can say what you want to. It could have been in passing. You know that player in Colorado, the one that throws the ball, he's not going to be drafted early. Somebody colluded somewhere.
Absolutely.
I don't care what they say. And like I said, they keep dropping out these hints, the arrogance. Okay, what person, let me back up. What team doesn't want their quarterback, the face of the franchise, to have some confidence? You don't want your star player, your leader of the team, to lack confidence, to come into the huddle and he's not sure of himself. Shedeur said everything right. Now, they probably could have handled that party a little bit differently. I don't know if I'd have had legendary plastered all across the walls.
Right. Now, I think that's what we were saying too. Humility,
that kind of turned some people off and rubbed people the wrong way.
I think humility for him is the best situation. This is, especially going back to faith, God will humble us in ways that we need to be humbled.
He will whip you when you need to be whipped.
Yeah, you're not above him. You're not above his process. So this was a great lesson to learn. I think this is going to give you a different mindset to show you, like, hey, man, we know who you are. We know what you come from. And I know you have the swagger,
pedigree,
that pedigree and stuff like that. But this is the NFL. You're not going to have the guidance of your father. You're not going to have the control environment.
The
Now you're up,
reassurances,
yeah, the
yeah.
reinsurances. Now you're up to the mercy of the NFL and of these people, of a business, a cutthroat business who showed you firsthand, hey man, if we want you here, we'll have you here, but it's gonna be to where we want you. If we want you in the NFL, okay, we can. There's different things, ramifications. There's higher ups in the NFL that you have to pretty much follow their rules, follow their guidelines,
Toe
or
the line.
yeah, toe the line. Don't push too hard, but yeah,
Ask
most
another C,
yeah.
Colin Kaepernick, how that turned out.
Colin Kaepernick. He said what Drake said.
He's still trying to come
He's
back.
still trying
He's
to come back.
37
All
years
right,
old.
yeah, Colin Kaepernick. Go ahead and hang that one up. I know
Hang it
that's
up, man. It's
hang
a
it up.
wrap.
It's
It's a
30.
wrap, Colin.
It's a
But
Colin.
it
We
just goes to
appreciate you.
show, it proves your point that your fate can be controlled by the owners of the Shield.
Yep, absolutely.
They can kick you out of the club if they want to. And they definitely colluded against that man to make sure he stayed out. He was having workouts in little high school fields for people to come watch and showcase. And everybody's, nah, man, you can't tell me he could have made it in the early stages of the XFL, UFL. You can't tell me a Colin Kaepernick, a seasoned quarterback with that arm. Come on, man. Something is going on, but we'll move back to the draft. I'm going to state Duval.
Duval.
I was impressed that Jacksonville wanted a game changer and a new face of the franchise when they went up 3 spots to grab Travis Hunter. I was impressed with that. Now there's been a changing of the guard. Trevor Lawrence is not the face of your franchise anymore. It's Travis Hunter. I think they were ready for a change, and they got a player, D, that I'm excited to watch. I don't typically go out of my way to watch a Jacksonville Jaguars ball game, but I'm going to be watching. I will solo watch them versus having, what is it, the show, the channel we watch with Scott Hansen with all the games.
Oh, Red Zone.
Red Zone. There you go. Thank you, son. Thank you. Drawing a blank there.
Yep.
I will be watching Jacksonville just to see what side of the ball is he going to be on. If he wants to make the most money, he'll play more on offense than he will defense. But there's certain packages they could put in for him on defense, and he can be that shutdown corner that people want to see, as well as catch a couple passes. I think he could really average 45 snaps a game on each side if they really choose to do that, if they want to let him do it.
Yeah. No, I think that it shows, because you always need some type of allure. You need some type of attraction. I don't care what team you are. You need to, like I just said, you need to put butts in seats. You need to have someone to root for. You need the jersey sales. You need all that. Now I think, yeah, that by drafting a Travis Hunter like that, a caliber player, a Heisman player like that, as barring no injury or nothing like that, man, I think he's going to be a game changer for that franchise. Someone who's going to give you a different look. I'm not going to say, oh man, it's guaranteed Super Bowl, but they're going to be able to compete. It's going to be able to bring some type of attraction to watching Jacksonville. Now, when you see Jacksonville on the schedule, or you see them playing at some time, you might tune in. You might watch a couple snaps. You might want to go and see, oh, man, he had this many snaps on defense, this many snaps on offense, which is good. And I think it's good for their franchise to have someone in that locker room that can switch it up, who can bring some type of excitement to your franchise. So that's good for Travis Hunter. Yeah, and I think for as far as Trevor Lawrence, he's not going to be your prototypical face of that team, but I think that's
Not
good for him.
anymore. I think they thought he was going to be.
But I think that's going to be good for him. He could just focus on staying healthy, because I think he had a regression year last year. I think he needs to get back in the locker room, build some rapport, and you got a dog like Travis, and yeah, you got someone who can make plays for you. So I think that helps. That's going to help his game too. But that was good for Jacksonville to see.
What does it say, D, if Jackson Dart beats out both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston to start the season? What does that say about their careers or where they are in the process?
If Jackson Dart beats out Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, I don't see New York going anywhere anytime soon.
And both the GM and the coach need to be fired.
Right.
So bring them in for.
I think everyone is on a 1-year deal. You got Jameis Winston 1 year deal. You got Russell Wilson 1 year deal. You got Dayball 1 year deal, and you got the
Right.
GM 1 year deal. Everyone's on thin ice to perform and to make sure, especially after the debacle letting Saquon go. That is the biggest fumble of NFL history
One of the
to this
dumbest
day.
moves.
One of
Yeah.
the dumbest moves, and also they had a chance to get Jaden Daniels too as well, which is another fumble of just who is watching. You can put it over here. Who is doing the eye for this talent? Because you could have already had your quarterback and you could have kept your running back. You wouldn't have to be in this position. But and I don't want to even throw any shade at Jackson Dart. I
And
know
I'm
he
not
probably
throwing
went.
shade
Yeah,
at him,
yeah.
but most analysts didn't have him rated
Where did
very
he
high.
come? That's what I'm saying. Where did he come from? Jackson Dart was not even in the radar of quarterbacks. I heard more Will Howard than a Jackson Dart. I
More
heard more
Quinn Ewers,
Quinn Ewers, Dylan Gabriel. I've heard more of those
Cam
quarterbacks.
Ward, the number one
Even
pick.
even Jalen Monroe. I heard more about him than Jackson Dart, and somehow he ended up being the second overall quarterback chosen in the draft. So it shows one for their career that they're coming down to the end of the career. They're more journeymen for Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. You'll get a good veteran in your locker room who can be a professional, because you always need a constant professional in your
You,
locker room
you do.
to kind of mold. But then it shows where the league is at now, especially with them. They're going to be coming down to the end of their careers. You're going to be more of a guy we're going to bring into the locker room to kind of show, hey, we got this new guy who we really want to start, who is going to be our future. We want you to show him when you went through your years, how'd you processing? What is your selection process? What
Your
time you
prep
show up?
work.
Prep work, your leadership ability. I'm going to bring them in for more characteristic skills instead of being my starter and being my future. As of right now, I know they said Russell Wilson is going to be their starter unless something
Until
shakes
Jackson
up.
Dart beats him out, basically.
Until Jackson Dart beats him out. But if he does beat them out, they're going to be in the same boat, because I don't see you going anywhere anytime soon, especially with having a rookie as your quarterback. Now, unless he surprises me, but I don't think there's going to be any type of surprise. I don't think there's going to be any type of surprise, especially in that division where you see Dallas. They're going to get Dak. They're going to get him back healthy. You got Jaden Daniels there who's going to compete. And then you got the Super Bowl champions with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles and them. So if you got Jackson Dart as your quarterback, you guys are still in the same spot. You guys are at the low of that division.
Yeah, you're
You're the
still
last
in the
team.
same spot,
Same spot.
even with Jackson Dart. And I don't wish anything bad upon the young man, and I don't predict anything bad. I just don't see him being much better than Danny Dimes, who they had, Daniel Jones. I think he's in about the same class. They said he has that same mobility. Some compared him to a Josh Allen, but I didn't hear that till late. I didn't hear that all season when he was playing. Hey, this dude, he really reminds me a lot of Josh Allen. Like I said, I know Lane Kiffin put him in good spots to be successful, his head coach at Ole Miss. But the things I read about him, that he was basically an average quarterback. Like I said, a lot of analysts had Tyler Shaw from Louisville rated higher than Jackson Dart. Only reason Tyler went so low is because he suffered a lot of injuries these last few years before he finally became healthy. But we'll see what happens. And like you said, they're all on a 1-year deal. Jackson Dart looks like he's going to be there for at least the next couple of years. And it's his job to lose, basically, because if you can't beat out, especially if you can't beat Jameis out, that's going to be viewed in many opinions as a bust. But you also have the opportunity to beat Russell out. So we'll see what happens. Moving on to the NBA playoffs, they are heating up for sure. Today's games, you got New York at Detroit. They're trying to extend their lead, their 2-1 lead over the Pistons. You got the Lakers trailing Minnesota. They play later on today. They're down 2-1. Defending champion Boston dropped a game, but they're still up 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
They play later on in the nightcap. Indianapolis will play Milwaukee, and they're trying to build on their 2-1 series lead. So no real surprises there. I do like how hungry, though, the Pistons are playing and pushing the Knicks. I can still see them coming away. I would not be surprised, should I say, if Pistons end up pulling that series out.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I don't see any surprises. Everything's kind of just falling how they should. And yeah, I think Detroit, man, Detroit's not going to go nowhere. Even if they don't come out of this series, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But even if they don't, that shows you a good sign for the future. You got a good. You just got to get some pieces. They
They're
get some more
building on
maturity.
something.
They building on something to go from the worst to not first, but to a lot better situation. From going from 14 games to 40 games, that's a drastic change from the last year to this year. So, yeah, the playoffs have been great.
They have.
I've been locked in. I've been tuned in. I've been watching. So it's been good.
What do you think? Should the Lakers get bounced? You traded for Luka. You got him on the team now. If you get bounced in the first round, you could have kept Darvin Ham. You could have kept AD. You could have kept Frank Vogel. You could have kept a lot of people because if you get bounced in the first round, you're just the same team as you were before. Same
Worse.
results is what I'm saying.
Or worse, because with Darvin Ham, they went to the Western Conference Finals against a couple years ago when they faced
2 years ago,
Denver.
yes, sir.
2 years against, so 2 years removed off that, and then you go and get a superstar like Luka. It just shows you they're definitely when I watch them play, they're definitely missing something. Luka is a good offensive player, but he's a liability on defense. LeBron shows you he can still get to the rim. He can still get money, but you still have to limit the amount of minutes he has. He can't just go. He's not in his 30s.
Doing in back-to-back games is what you see.
Right. He can't just exert himself to complete exhaustion, play the whole game, and then the next game, play the whole game, and the next game, play the whole game, and go off of these just. He'll have spurts. The game Friday night, he looked like they were going to do something, but it's just someone else got to step up. I don't know if that's going to be Austin Reeves. He needs to be a more impactful player.
Which I think I said that on our show Outside the NBA. If you listen to us, if not, check us out. But I remember saying I didn't think he was going to be that player. He had a couple of games down the stretch before the season ended where he stepped up, but he's not that consistent player. Like I said, since he got that bag, he hasn't been the same.
He's a good player, but they're missing something. I think also size too. They give up a lot of just offensive boards too. Offensive, defensive boards. A lot of teams. Timberwolves was getting a lot of second, third opportunities. So yeah, I don't know. You do all this trading, you make a big splash. Now it might help out in the future, but as far as right now, the Timberwolves have got their number.
They got their number.
Yeah, they got their number. So it's going to be interesting to see how that series plays out.
Yes, sir. Results from Saturday's games last night or yesterday. Cleveland ran all over Miami, 124-87. They now lead the series 3-0. OKC put Memphis out of its misery with a 117-115 victory. The Thunder swept the series 4-0. Memphis didn't get one game. Aaron Gordon had a stick-back dunk at the buzzer, and Denver stunned the Clippers last night, 101-99, and they now lead the series 2-1. And then Golden State, without Jimmy Butler, but led by Steph Curry's 36 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, beat Houston 104-93. They now lead Houston 2-1. I was scared, D, when Jimmy Butler went down. I said, man, this changes the whole complexion of this series. But looks like the young Steph, no matter how much they throw him to the ground and make him battle through double teams, triple teams, he's still effective.
They be mauling Steph.
And they don't call it.
They absolutely maul Steph. And then it comes to a situation where he does have to, in some situations, sell it a little bit when he's driving down the lane. Because you have to, because he's not getting the calls.
Right.
He's really not getting these calls. And they're absolutely pummeling him. And that's the whole MO since Jimmy Butler has gone down. Just go at Steph. Go at Steph. But I think this goes to show and goes to prove his greatness, because his toughness, his durability, because that was one of the things they questioned him on when he first got in, when he going way back when he was,
because he had the bad ankles.
Can he be durable?
Mm-hmm.
He's too small. He's not going to be able to compete in the toughness. Hey, the one thing they can't question or they can't measure is this right here, that heart. And he definitely has that heart, and he has that dog in him. And he actually put on shooting frenzy, and it's great to see. That's why when the outside the NBA players you like to watch that's not on your team, man, I don't know what it is here lately, but I've become a real big Steph Curry fan. Like, he is man, he is amazing to watch. And
He's gold-blooded.
he's gold-blooded unity. But he's really amazing to watch. He's tough. It's going to be tough for them, especially because he's going to have to put a performance like that every night. Because honestly, they really ain't got scoring outside of Steph. Jimmy Butler was supposed to be your other assassin when it comes to take that load of scoring, because you need a balance. You need a 1-2. You need a 1-2. If I ain't coming, Steph is going to have to come with it every single night. So it's going to be tough. They were able to pull it off, and he's going to do everything he can, but it's going to be tough. But hey, just watch greatness happen. And if anyone can do it, Steph Curry can make it happen.
I was so frustrated, I cut it off because they were just killing him. And
Dude,
then
he was getting
Houston
rocked.
was killing them on the defensive board. They were getting 2, 3, 4 putbacks or looks at the bucket. And then Golden State would come down and turn the ball over again. And then I'd watch Steph get knocked down and they wouldn't call it. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm going to let this go. And I came back to it, and then they won the game, and I was happy. But it's just, yeah, like you said, you marvel at the man's durability and how much punishment he can take. And you look at the fact that he's constantly moving without the ball, the kind of shape that you have to be in.
Oh, my God.
We always talk about what LeBron puts into his body. I can only imagine what Steph is doing to get to that point. The cardio, the PT that you have to go through, just to get ready for a game. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. But we got some good games to watch today. And like I said, those series will be going forward starting tomorrow again. And yeah, good basketball. And if you listen to the Outside the NBA, we keep referencing that's another one of our podcasts. If you haven't listened, please listen. But we spoke of the Kia Award winners and the finalists this past week. And Evan Mobley was named Defensive Player of the Year. No surprise. I think we all chose him. Jalen Brunson was the Clutch Player of the Year.
Okay.
Which we didn't know how to measure that when it was like, what's clutch?
Right.
Peyton Pritchard, I know I chose him. He was the Sixth Man of the Year. I remember me and Walker said that. I think you did too. And then Draymond Green got the Hustle Award.
Draymond Green.
So those are the few awards that have already been announced. We still got Rookie of the Year, obviously Most Valuable Player. They'll be giving those awards out as we continue to go throughout the playoffs. But yeah, a good listen. If you want to hear some basketball, some NBA talk, definitely listen to Outside the NBA. All right. I know you didn't say that.
I hope you didn't say that.
You shouldn't have said that. You said what? This quote comes from, and I'll let you listen to it and you can see if you can guess this. And I quote, "It's going to be me allowing Coach Blank to coach the hell out of me, just so everybody else falls in line. I'm going to have to be the one to take that to show an example. This is the standard here. I'm ready to do that. I wasn't ready to do that in my previous years. Now I know what it takes." End quote. And that is a female player, collegiate player, just to give you a little hint of who said what.
They talking about Don Staley?
No. Listen to the first part. It's going to be me allowing Coach Blank to coach the hell out of me. So this is a player.
No, I'm talking about I was talking about is that player talking about I'm gonna let that coach.
Oh, is she referring to Don Staley?
Is she referring to Don Staley? That's gonna help my selection to see what player it was.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood the question. Good, you're on the right path though.
I'm gonna let
same conference.
Same conference. So it's gonna be Flage.
Yep, that's who it is.
That's what I need to know. Yeah,
she came back. She decided to come back, return to college instead of opting to go to the WNBA.
I think that was good for her. I don't think she's ready for the WNBA yet.
She realized that too. I think someone gave her some bad advice telling her that she was ready. But obviously when the teams didn't draft her, because she could have gone overseas if she really wanted to force the issue, and she could also rely on her rap game and focus on her music, but she said she wants to come back and be developed. And Kim Mulkey is a good talent builder.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the word I'm trying to say, but I'm happy for her. Like you said, I don't think she's ready. She does need one more year of seasoning to get her game ready for the WNBA. And What's to say that won't lead them to another title as well?
Yeah, just
LSU
compete for
does
a
a good
title.
job of recruiting.
Yeah, especially the past history, and you get some players, out there to just be like, hey, we're trying to be back in the championship contention. You want to be part of a winning program, but I think that's good for Flau'jae because I don't think she was quite ready yet. Her game is good, but I don't think it's as elite
It's
as it
not
needs to
great.
be. Yeah, it's not as elite because you really have to. The players that move on, man, they got some really good games, man. They got some really good people, so it's not as elite as it should be. But I think another year of maturity, another year to develop is going to be beneficial for her.
All right, son. Now it's time for the wild and the weird.
The wild and the weird.
My headline for this is they are trying to replace us, D. They are trying to replace us. So this happened in Beijing, China last weekend. Human robots, or they call them humanoid robots, run a half marathon alongside flesh and blood competitors.
Oh.
So the bipedal robots of various makes and sizes navigated the 21.1 kilometer, 13.1 mile course supported by teams of human navigators, operators, and engineers in what event organizers say was a first. As a precaution, a divider separated the parallel courses used by the robots and humans. While flesh and blood participants followed conventional rules, the 20 teams fielding machines in the humanoid robot half marathon competed under tailored guidelines, which included battery swap pit stops. The Sky Project Ultra robot, also known as Tien Kung Ultra, from the Tien Kung team, claimed victory among the non-humans, crossing the finish line in 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 42 seconds. Awards were also given out for best endurance, best gate design, and most innovative form. They're
Yeah,
trying to
it's here.
replace us, D.
Yeah, it's here. I mean,
If they
it's
get
us
them
right
to run
here.
marathons, what can't you get them to do?
Right. And are we going to be competing against the robots to see the competition level? You're going to have competitions because that's crazy. I remember watching iRobot, a good movie,
That was
with Will
years
Smith.
ago.
Real good movie. One of my favorite movies to watch. But yeah, the advancement of they have, and I know they got more advanced robots than this that they're just withholding. But I don't know if this was real. I don't know if this is real or not. Are they 4-legged? You said it's 4-legged or 2-legged
No,
robots?
two-legged.
They're 2-legged because I saw
They
like
look
a
like people. Some of them
yeah.
they made faces for them.
I saw a robot to where, and I don't know if this was AI or not, so I had to do my backing, but it was a 4-legged robot similar to a horse. And you ride it like a motorcycle, but it can climb. It has 4 legs. So you have more climbing ability, you have more terrain ability, and you ride it just like a horse. The advancement of technology is crazy, and they are gonna replace us. They've been trying to replace us because it's going to be a lot easier to get a robot to do something than a human. So it just goes back to workforces, replacing people on
So the robot comes back off his break on time. The
right,
human might take a few extra minutes.
right. The robot coming back ready to work.
He don't need
Human,
a smoke break.
right,
None
right.
of
He don't
that.
need a smoke break. He don't come in smelling all loud. I know what you was doing on break.
Right. He don't
But
come in late.
right, he don't come in late, argumentative. It's like, okay, I'm gonna need you to go ahead, do a little overtime. Man, I'm trying to get up. All right, well, I'm gonna get this robot in here.
Right.
I'm gonna get this robot in here. All I gotta do is
And
hit
he's doing
on
double the
switch,
work.
double the work at quicker the time too. So, he's saving me money. So it's all everything comes to a money point, but it's it that's wild and weird. And it's crazy. We're gonna have to start preparing because we all, you know how that always happens. The robot gets too powerful, and then we can't do nothing. Then the
Can't
robots
do nothing with him. You can't even kill him.
right. Then the robots overtake us.
But he's smarter than us.
Right. So we're gonna have to watch out, man. Don't make, especially if they
Don't
put some
sleep on the robots.
right. Because if you put some AI technology in the robot and they're just learning and developing and learning how to get better and more developed, yeah, it's a wrap. It's gonna be a wrap for us.
It's
It's
gonna
a
be a
wrap.
wrap.
It's gonna be a wrap for us.
And it won't be a good rap. It won't be a
No,
good rap.
not a good rap.
The one thing that they didn't include in this story is how fast did the human finish? That's the one element of the story I couldn't find is how quickly did the human finish? They
Right.
had to beat the 2 hours and 40 minutes. Or maybe not. Maybe the robot was going fast. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find that.
Then
I'm
the
gonna have to
robot
figure
don't
out a
get
way to get that.
the robot don't get tired. What's the point of that?
But he runs out of battery though. That's the other thing. So
Oh,
they
he
did
runs
have to
out of
do pit
battery.
stops because he ran out of energy. The battery can only go so far.
He ran out of So I get okay. I'm about to say because you can't give him a complete advantage.
Right. The wild and the weird.
The wild and the weird.
Got a little something on the side. Saw this story the other day. Gary Payton II plays for the Golden State Warriors, has teamed up with Supplement, SUPLMNT, an African American water bottle company that was formed to hydrate the culture, according to founder Jairus Morris. Several athletes, especially Warriors teammates, have been spotted with the bottles, but their whole thing is educating us on if you're going to work out, even just in general life, you need to keep your body hydrated. But they have some pretty cool looking water bottles. Look them
Absolutely.
up on the internet. SUPLMNT supplement. And like I said, Gary Payton has teamed up with them and invested some of his money into that. I saw Steph with one of their water bottles the other day. It
Yeah.
says, keep your water cold up to 24 hours. Keep something hot, maybe your coffee, your beverage, hot for up to 12 hours. So
Damn.
that's a pretty good water bottle.
Absolutely. You make a coffee in the morning and it's still good at night.
It's still good at night. You're still
Still
sipping
warm.
on it.
Right. You still just sipping on it. Yeah. And it is important, especially just to monitor what's going in your body, to hydrate properly, and to be aware, what you put in your body and making sure that you're hydrating properly. Because if you're going to work out or do anything, if you're just going to just go to work and work, I don't know, construction, teaching, it doesn't really matter. You really need to hydrate your body to get the best performance out of your body. So that's good that he's trying to give some knowledge to the culture. I think that's important. And I think that he's putting emphasis on that is the biggest thing. That's good.
You definitely have to be aware of what you're putting in your body. And if you know anything about us, this podcast is powered by Excess. A little time for a little product placement.
Product placement. Perfect timing.
Excess. Watch
Yes,
what you put in
sir.
your body.
Watch what you put in your body. I mean, a lot of B vitamins doesn't have you real jittery. It's actually designed for people with diabetes. So if you're still trying to get that get up and go, zero sugar. Also, if you're trying to watch your sugar intake and your sugar accumulation, this is a good energy drink to have. Keeps you on the go, keeps you alert. It's more of a cognitive drink. That's what I would say. Specializes. It keeps you alert, keeps you aware, especially when you're working, and it allows you just to get the full capacity of that mental fog, takes away that out of there and that mental exertion. So very good drink. Hit your boy up.
Hit them up. And the most important thing to know that this segment is sponsored by Excess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Time for that juicy news.
Time for that juicy news. Because if you don't know, oh, there you go. It has some still left.
Yeah, it still had something. I'm like, what happened to it? Because if you don't know, now you know. Young brother, young sister, young player, Dwight Howard, B. Diddy, Porter family.
Cheetah. All right, for that juicy news, because if you don't know, now so I don't even know where to start. There's a lot of juicy news going on. I'm gonna highlight a few instances. We could just go ahead and start off with the elephant in the room, the Shannon Sharp lawsuit that we were talking about on the live show, the Monday night. That was on Thursday when we did the NFL draft. We talked a little bit about Shannon Sharp, but Shannon Sharp is getting sued $50 million by an OnlyFans model for sexual assault. Apparently the two had some type of relationship where they were seeing each other, they were having some sexual encounters over a period of time, and I believe these were transactional because I think that's how she makes her money. But she's 20 years old, Shannon Sharp is 54 years old, and somewhere in between the relationship, it maybe, I don't know if he played her, he said I'm not gonna pay you that amount, or he ghosted her. Somehow this turned for the worse not in his favor, because now she's suing him for $50 million for sexual assault. So, and there's some text messages that has been released showing him, that's been taken out of context, saying, "Oh, I'm gonna choke you" and stuff like that. Or she was saying, "Well, I don't want to be choked out in public," and he goes back and saying, "Well, no, yes you do. You're gonna get choked." So, so it sounds like
Yeah,
right,
yeah. I'm gonna
still,
get choked.
you want to get choked, and then so they got him on recording out of context, and from their perspective, what I think is they were role playing, because there's also some
You got some text messages from her too.
text messages in hers, and then of hearers discretion is advised, talking about, "I want you to put a big black baby in me," which that don't make no sense, because what is the size of the baby got to do with anything? Oh, would you put a big black baby?
The
You talking about
biggest, the
the
largest.
largest? Okay, I guess they were trying to role play, do like some dirty talk or whatever, but that don't even.
He should
I
have been
mean, what
like,
is it?
ew.
But they've been talking back and forth. But somehow he's saying that this is all a ploy from what's his name? This is all a ploy from Tony Busby, her attorney, who's representing Miss
That's the same one
Gabrielle.
that
That's the
tried to
one that
go
went
after Jay-Z.
That's the one that went after Jay-Z to pretty much what Shannon Sharp says: take down a successful black man, discredit him, and yeah, pretty much it's a shakedown. Pretty much he's Shannon Sharp, due his success. We know his stock has risen over the past couple of years to where now you're in that limelight to where, yeah, people are coming after you. There's gonna be he's already had a video released with another lady, of audio release of a sex tape, and now he's in this type of a situation. So it shows Shannon Sharp, man, you're gonna have to move accordingly.
I need to sit your ass down.
You need to sit your ass down somewhere and stop putting yourself in bad situations. Now, I do think, like, in my perspective, this is a shakedown, especially because I think both parties were consensual on this. They were both going back, talking back and forth, talking nasty, talking reckless, and I think Shannon Sharp pretty much was. I don't know if he ended the relationship, or he pretty much, I don't know if he played her to where she felt some type of way, to where, oh, now you don't want to continue the relationship, so now she's going at him for sexual assault, even though they had multiple counters which was allegedly consensual. So we're going to be following this story. The young lady is 20 years old, Gabrielle Zaninga, who is an OnlyFans model, and we're going to see how this plays out. But yeah, her attorney is Tony Busby, and Shannon Sharp also had to step down. He personally stepped down from ESPN right now to let the situation play out, to be with his family, and he says the truth will come out. So he thinks he'll prevail in the situation. So we're going to pay close attention to that. But Shannon Sharp, you might want to keep your head down, keep your nose clean. You might need to stay away from them.
Exactly. If she wants 50, he offered her 10, right?
Yeah, which is also, I'm glad you brought that up, which is also shows, damn, what were you really doing? Because usually, okay, if you offering her 10 mil to keep quiet about
Just
something,
kind of away, yeah.
to go away, if you're completely innocent, you weren't doing nothing wrong, then you would do like how Jay-Z did, and he's like,
Don't offer shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna offer you nothing. If you want to, don't do a civil lawsuit. Take this to criminal lawsuit. Because if you're accusing me of what saying is true, let's do criminal lawsuit. I should be in jail. So,
She
and
said
that's
she was raped at least 4 different times.
4 different times.
occasions.
And, okay, after the first time, the second time. Now we're not playing about that. We're not going to discredit that because that's a serious matter. But
yeah, I'm not going to downplay that. But damn, you just keep going back.
Right. So what was okay? That doesn't make sense there.
He kind of raped me, but right. Now, let me stop.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't.
We don't even want to.
Yeah,
because that's a serious matter. But
that is serious.
But it doesn't make sense because it
doesn't
seems like he got the bag. She knows she got the bag. She knows she can get to a bigger bag, because don't get me wrong, she's not a teacher, she's not a nurse.
Right.
She's an OnlyFans model, so she likes easy money. She doesn't want to really work hard for her money. She doesn't have to really
of a sexual nature.
Right. She seems like she just wants to get clout and money pretty easily. What's another way to do that? By suing someone with some money and get them into a bad situation to where you can get some M. So,
and Tony Busby, he needs to sit his ass down because he keeps coming up with these L's. Every time he goes up against another celebrity, somehow he ends up losing. And for him, he's just trying to get a big payday, looks like.
He's trying to get a big payday too. And then so besides that, and then also the other story I was gonna bring out, we can skim over this real. This might be wild. This could have been wild or weird. And you said what? All in one. Kanye West released a song, I think called Cousins, pretty much explaining that he was in a sexual relationship with his male cousin for quite some time, and that they used to perform oral sex on each other.
Oh.
Another weird comment, statement, occurrence for Kanye West, and he released a song and gave the background to the song to pretty much how him and his male cousin used to have sexual relations with each other. And I don't know why we needed to know that, or why that needed to come out, or why you chose this time to release that information. We didn't really need to know that.
Right.
But I don't know if you want to come clean about that, or if that was weighing on your heart heavy. We were not interested in knowing that. Not only because that's incestual, there's a lot of things to break that down.
That's a lot of stuff in a lot of different categories.
A lot of different categories.
That's a whole lot of something on the side, isn't it?
That's a whole lot of something on the side. But Kanye West, another
It's weird.
Just another weird situation. Another just what for? Why do we need to know that? But we're sitting here going to talk about it because
it's wild and weird and it's stupid and it's juicy news.
It was too weird not to bring up because.
But didn't he somehow apologize to Jay-Z about talking about his kids and then turn around in the same breath, see if he could try to get in with Beyonce if they could sleep together? I think I read that right.
Yeah, because dude here lately has been going on
He's sick, isn't he?
He has impulsive thoughts. He has a lot of impulsive thoughts, and that whatever that part of your brain that says, hey, maybe let's not say this, or hey, maybe let's not bring this up, or maybe let's not speak this out loud, because we've all maybe had an impulsive thought, whether it's just, okay, maybe that shouldn't be said in the light. He just goes out and says it and makes it public.
And it's worse.
And it's worse. And it's worse. And it's weird. And it doesn't make any sense. And he definitely needs help.
He needs some help for real.
He needs some help for real. So we're going to pay for that, brother. But I don't even know if prayer's going to work. But yeah, that's your juicy news, man. A lot of stuff going on in Hollyweird that we're going to keep paying attention to.
All right, son. Time for our pops, flops, and props.
Pops, flops, and props.
Who you popping?
Pops is going to go to the Atlanta Falcons, man. I really enjoyed the draft selection this year, and especially going for defense. So I'm glad that they're actually competing and actually bringing some excitement to our franchise to actually just compete, man. Just compete. So that was a big pops for me.
Mine is similar as to my 49ers for addressing some serious needs on the defensive side of the ball. It's been a long time coming, and you had some draft picks, and you looks like for right now, on the surface, they seem like you made some good choices. Who you flopping?
Flops to me was going to go to all the NFL teams passing up on Shedeur Sanders. I don't want to go big into this because we already talked about it, but you needed a good quarterback, and you guys chose to pick other quarterbacks for some other reason. And also, the Browns, what were you doing? Now you got a locker room full of just quarterbacks that you really don't need. And then what was the point of having quarterbacks just to go back and to do something that we already thought you were going to do from the first hand? We thought we were going to get Shedeur Sanders. We thought Shedeur Sanders was going to be a Cleveland Brown. He ended up being a Cleveland Brown, but why wait so late? Why get him in the last one? Yeah, and why pick another rookie before him who I don't know if you're going to stay with him or you're going to release him, or I guess you're just going to see how it plays out, but that's almost like overkill. It's okay, we don't know how this is going to play. We don't know how this play. I think that was a big flop for the NFL and all the teams that passed up on Shedeur Sanders. I think that was a debacle, and we've already talked about it, but I think that was a flop.
My flop is going to go to my Niners for not doing more in the draft to bolster the offensive line. We talked about needs coming into the draft. Trent Williams is getting older. Brock Purdy, if you pay him all that money, he's going to need protection. You need to make sure that offensive line can keep the quarterback upright. Because, damn it, don't make sense to pay him all those millions, and he's injured half the season because he wasn't protected. Who you propping? Props
are going to go to the OKC, the Oklahoma City Thunder, for sweeping the Grizzlies. They made straight sweep. They made easy work of the Memphis Grizzlies, and that was a big prop for them. I think they're the first team to actually move on to the second round.
Yeah,
So
they are.
that's a young, hungry squad. I think what's big for them is their chemistry, and I think they actually fight for each other because anytime there's a player of the game like Chet Holmgren or CGA, they always have the role players in the background when they do interviews and they highlight everyone. So I think that's a good. I think they're a family, and I think they're going to contend, man. I think depending on how the rest of the playoffs play out, I think they're going to contend, man, for a title. But shout out to OKC.
All right, mine's going to go to all the players who were drafted. Now realize that the real work starts now. You did everything you could to get to this point. You reached that goal. Now your goal is to make that 53-man roster, be ready to play. If nothing else, be on the practice squad. Well, put in that real work that's necessary to become a professional ball player in the NFL and have a lasting career. All right, son. Now it's that time of the podcast, of the show, to tell someone to sit your
Your ass
ass
down.
down. Man,
Sit your ass down,
please.
please.
And
And
thank you.
thank you.
All right, who you telling, son?
My sit your ass down is going to go to Shannon Sharp, man. You need to go ahead and sit your ass down. And all these little sexual encounters and stuff like that, be more careful, man. We all got things that we need to check off the checklist and stuff like that. But your association, there's people that's coming after you. You're too big of a celebrity to not be on point. I think the biggest thing, just be on point. Be on point when you do these things. All these paper trails and things of that nature, bro.
Be discreet.
Be discreet about it. Sit your ass down, or just find out what you want to focus on. Are you more focused on the women? You more focused on the money, stuff like that? You got a lot of stuff going on. You didn't work this hard to lose all that money
To give it
your
away.
to keep your nose clean, or if anything, shoot, you need to find a woman that's not going to just put your business out there, who's going to just put you on blast, who's going to sue you after you have a sexual encounter and try to take everything that you've gotten, man. Man, govern yourself accordingly and make right decisions. See, now you got to step away from ESPN. You're potentially going to lose out on a bigger bag that you could have got. And I know, luckily for him, he got a lot of stuff on the internet and stuff like that. You really don't need ESPN and those sports news shows to get the bag and be successful. But that they're the ones who can guarantee a bag.
Hey.
They've been around for a long time, and they can continue your career because you don't know internet things, all these stuff, that those pop-ups, those change. But just sit your ass down somewhere, find out what you really want, and govern yourself accordingly.
All right, son. Mine's going to go to all the people, whether in the media, outside the media, fans, all the people who reveled in Shedeur Sanders' slide from being a possible top 5 pick to the actual 5th round. It seemed like a lot of people took joy in him sliding down to as far as he slid. It seems like people are very happy and all excited, and watch out for that young man. He's going to come into the league hungry.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to come into the league with a chip on his shoulder, with something to prove. And I can't wait to see it. And also to the idiots that pranked him, they pretended to be Saints GM Mickey Loomis,
yep,
and made it seem like they were going to draft him in the 9th spot, and end up being a prank. Whoever leaked his phone number to those idiots, because supposedly those phone numbers are private. Only the NFL people have it. And somebody got it out, let it out. And to those people as well, sit your asses down.
Right.
Just watch this young brother. He's going to shock some people if he does what he's supposed to do. And I can't wait to see him have some success. Haters, sit your ass down.
Sit your ass down.
All right, son, man, we had a lot to chop up, a lot to get off our chest, and we did so. Love the format that we are able to do this in. Also, we're thankful for everyone who listens to the Me and D
Pops and Son
podcast.
For that ass. Man, we appreciate it. And then keep subscribing to the channel for sure, so you never miss an episode. We went live the other day, so anytime that we go live, If you watch the channel, you follow us, subscribe to the channel. That helps us out. Keep building our subscriptions up so that you always get the information and you never miss an episode.
Yes, sir. All right, D. Tell them, but until next time.
But until next time. I'ma holla at you.